It's all happened here. Everything we've ever known, done, loved, took place on this drifting, spinning ball that's our home. It's where we learned to provide, nurture, protect, thrive. And yet,
wildfires are scorching the West Coast, leaving behind a path of death and destruction.
15 inches of rain this morning.
The waters keep rising, and according to the National Weather Service,
our very success now threatens our future. Today, our greatest challenge is to learn how to grow while sustaining what sustains us. Your understanding, your science, your work are the solution. You have the power to see patterns and relationships and show us how everything and everyone are connected. You have the power to transform how we produce and consume, build and maintain, unite and strengthen, heal and nurture. You can help us see that we can no longer live apart from nature, but must live as part of it. Today, geography matters more than ever. The geographic approach, your work, and the billions of maps you make are essential for creating a more sustainable future.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Esri India User Conference. If you are wondering where I am at the Esri India's headquarter office in Delhi NCR. This facility is going to be full of action over the next 2 days. We would have a lot of thought leaders and experts joining us in this very office to share their views on how GIS technology is evolving. We would also demonstrate some of the latest capabilities of GIS over the next few days. There are many speakers who would also be joining us from their offices across different cities in India. Before we start, some few key points you would like to make a note of. We value your feedback, your suggestions, your ideas. So don't forget to share that with us and with the user community who will be joining us in the conference through the chat window on your right side of the screen. We would be conducting polls and we would like to get your views on that. So make sure that you participate in polls as well. We will also take this opportunity to run a lot of contests so that you can win prizes. So don't miss the offer tab on the right side of the screen. Our team has worked very hard to give you a good experience of user conference virtually. But due to some technology problem, if we face disruption, then just be patient. We would try and bring back this live stream as soon as possible. Normally a refresh of a browser at your end should work. Hopefully we will not have many problems. But before we get started, let me join my co-host of this conference, Vishal Anand. Hi Vishal.
Hi Harpreet, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And hello everyone and our user. A very warm welcome to one of the largest GIS event in the country. Even though virtually, second year, but I hope we will have very exciting 2 days and I hope all of you are keeping well and safe. Pandemic is not yet over, guys.
Vishal, I am very excited. You know, though I'm going to miss the excitement which we used to have when we used to do this event physically, you know, thousands of our users used to gather at one hotel location, But I think we will have so many exciting sessions lined up that we should be able to compensate that miss of fun which we used to have.
I agree, Harpreet. I am equally excited, but totally agree with you that the fun of physical event, talking to users, learning from their experiences,
Right.
networking, getting to know what they have done in last year, we will definitely miss that.
Yeah.
But one thing I can assure you, and what you will not miss, and our users will not miss, is a lot of ideas which we will generate in next 2 days, because we have lined up, many exciting talks by visionaries, by leader in the industry and domain, and which will give you a view of what is happening in the technology, and also the flair of how those ideas can be implemented.
Right.
So let me tell you, very action-packed 2 days, Harpreet.
I am sure. It's very interesting to see how this conference has come together to become the largest gathering of community. The entire GIS community looks forward to this event every year.
Harpreet, I would like to correct you here. This conference is just not a conference now. It has actually become a platform from last many years. And I've seen the times when GIS was confined to a labs in a university or a user department, but the times have changed. With the way the new tech is changing, and the way we have seen GIS being used by our individual users, to developers, to organization, and to a lot of communities. We have seen it evolve. And we have been saying a lot that GIS will be helpful in sustainable communities. It will help for community development, spatial literacy. But now is the time, Harpreet, I can say that the time has come that GIS is actually doing that. And a lot of user experiences we have seen, and you will also see in next few days in a lot of presentation. It is really thought-provoking. And at the same time, Arcgis system, the way it is growing and it is becoming a part of whole geospatial infrastructure, I'm sure users will have a very good time in next 2 days. It's really thought-provoking.
I totally agree with you there. So what are we waiting for, right?
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Yes?
Let's go and catch up with Agendra, who is at the Customer Experience Center, ready to give us a view of how GIS is becoming so relevant for India now, and how this is becoming a key technology which will play a key role for a sustainable economic growth of India.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this Esri India User Conference 2021. The theme of this year's conference is GIS, Creating a Sustainable Future. It's really an important subject for the times through which we are going in these days. Like last year, this year also, we had to do this user conference in a virtual manner. And we all know times are challenging, and that's the best way for us to get together. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be sharing some thoughts about GIS for sustainable economic growth in my short talk today. Our world has changed. Lack of sustainability threatens our future and life. We are going through a lot of challenging times. We have challenges of increasing pollution, ecological instability, water crisis, forest fires are happening at so many places, growth in population, and urbanization brings its own challenges in terms of lack of water or shortage of energy. Cities are congested, creating traffic issues, and we are collectively responsible for this and also about a future. Creating a sustainable future is very much possible. For that, geographic thinking will be essential. We need to make a major commitment to life so that we have a better future, and we must act now. We must dramatically change our priorities. We must address all the challenges that we are facing so that we can restore natural balance, we can conserve our oceans, we need to develop renewable sources of energy, preserve and create green infrastructure, protect our oceans, create sustainable agriculture, and while we do all these things, we have to make sure that we manage the pollution and we scale back the urbanization to a more sustainable way of growth. Sustainability requires a different kind of thinking. Geography provides us the science and language to think in that manner. We need to see the world as a one single ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, there are multiple systems that we have as a part of our ecosystem. We have social systems which talk about education for all, better healthcare facilities for all, equity and equality, managing the population growth to provide a peaceful life to our citizens. Then we have economic systems that deal with infrastructure, energy, industrialization, development, and those financial systems which help our communities and people at large. We also have environmental systems where we deal with forests and water and climate changes and ocean health. So these systems, and there are many more different systems which are there today, and ladies and gentlemen, these systems are all interconnected, and we need to keep this in mind while we plan for sustainable economic growth. We need to look at providing a framework for understanding and applying the knowledge that we are gathering through a geospatial infrastructure. Many of you would have noticed that Government of India announced new geospatial guidelines in February this year. It was a historic step. We did not have clarity in terms of geospatial data guidelines for decades altogether, but by providing this new line of thought, a new way of working, giving an opportunity to users and industry to make use of enormous amount of geospatial data which can be created, processed and shared in a very open manner, government has taken a step which is a great step of enablement. We've also seen draft policies for geospatial segment as such. So geospatial policy as a draft was circulated some time back. We also had a draft remote sensing data policy which many of us have seen and given some comments to government. And then government also released a drone policy which was also required quite a lot for a long period of time, because again there were too many controls, and these technologies today are very, very fundamental to our economic growth. Drones have become a very cheap, low cost and efficient ways to create data, to capture data, to do different kind of data collection activities. And ladies and gentlemen, the data which comes out of drones, after processing, it becomes a part of the geospatial infrastructure that we need to create for a sustainable economic growth. So once we have these different kind of data sets, then we can bring in technology of GIS systems to ensure that we are able to make use of that data in creating maps and creating some applications to consume that data and help people, different kind of organizations, different departments in solving the problems that they are dealing with. So this technology, GIS and geospatial infrastructure, is an enabling technology. It provides a framework for understanding and applying the knowledge that we are creating. And geospatial infrastructure is transformative. It's a kind of intelligent infrastructure. It's a new way of looking at things. It's a new way of sharing the data and creating some applications for people to use. So geospatial infrastructure integrates all type of data, whether it's coming from drone surveys, or it's coming from LiDAR, or it's coming from satellite systems, raster images, vector data, all kind of data can be brought together as a part of this geospatial infrastructure. And then different maps, layers and scenes can be created and shared with people at large. Sharing is a very important thing. Today, the data that is created, if we do not share with people, then the value of that investment is not fully realized. And the geospatial infrastructure, which is very much required and it's being created in some parts, provides us, brings us the data, the maps and apps and all the content that we create, it comes together and it can be shared in form of geo portals. Apps and maps can be accessed from variety of devices, whether these are computers or mobile devices, phones, smartphones, and it can be shared across with different people as a form of geospatial service which they can consume for their own applications. So organizing and making available a distributed geospatial service is the objective which this geospatial infrastructure helps in solving. And it helps in creating a lot of powerful applications which can help in different segments. It can help in creating different types of workflows and engagement between people. Some of the applications can be run on desktops. There are 3D applications. We have ArcGIS Pro. We have technologies like Model Builder. We have tools like Insights, which lets you go deeper into the data to understand the trends. For large scale usage of these applications, deployments on mobile devices are possible, and they are being done quite a lot. A lot of data collection activities, tracking activities, inspection, work management, field surveys, these are common applications to be used on mobile devices. And then we have pervasive web applications for sharing large scale, and these applications provide us some dashboards, provides different kind of maps and a lot of infographics which can help us in understanding the trends and looking at the different trends and what's going on in that data in form of dashboards and maps to make some critical decisions which can be implemented, and action of those decisions can also be monitored and observed through the geospatial infrastructure and the GIS systems. So the idea here is to empower everyone in the organization to consume the data, to use the applications and for better decision making. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me talk a little bit about ArcGIS. That's also an integrated system. ArcGIS is available in different forms. Many of you are familiar with Enterprise, what we call server GIS. Then we have ArcGIS Pro, which is the GIS on desktop. And then there are a lot of apps which are possible to be used through different kind of devices or through the web. Now, ArcGIS system has a number of APIs which help in creating different kind of applications and integration with other technologies. We also have ArcGIS Online, which is our SaaS offering, and it's very popular. Millions of maps are used every day, and the advantage of using ArcGIS Online is that a lot of data which is coming from different sources can easily be integrated into the applications. So, ladies and gentlemen, this geospatial infrastructure is enabling and supporting the growth of usage of geospatial applications for solving very, very complex problems. And ArcGIS is an open and interoperable system. So it connects very easily with variety of other business systems like SAP or different kind of CRM systems. It follows a lot of open standards like OGC. It supports a lot of open data. The data published by different government organizations, which is openly available, can easily be integrated into ArcGIS applications. ArcGIS also provides a lot of open source solution templates, apps, and I'll talk a little more about what work we are doing in this area. But it's a very important area because those applications help you start faster. Don't have to wait for creating a custom application, and it sort of gives you a solution at a shorter time and at a lower cost. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of open APIs. We have Python API, we have JavaScript API. These APIs are important for creating different kind of applications. So by doing all these, we are helping our users to create an integrated system where the data from one system can go to the other system, and an engagement can be created across the organization. Of course, Jack will be sharing a lot of things with you right after I finish, And Jack will further explain to you that how ArcGIS system is uniquely positioned to solve the sustainability challenges that the world is facing today. And another important thing is about content. ArcGIS includes a lot of ready to use content, and it's growing almost every single day. Many of you would have used ArcGIS Living Atlas. Living Atlas is a collection of data from authoritative sources and also through community. It has data like land cover, biodiversity, different kind of base maps, weather information, soil information. So those data sets are brought together as a form of living atlas, and because it's a living atlas, you will have access to the most recent data that is available. And ladies and gentlemen, even in India, we have a set of systems that are and a team of people who are always looking to get newer data sets to be a part of this living atlas. So it's an activity which is a global activity, and Indian data is also a part of living atlas that you can access through ArcGIS Online. And also a lot of new data and layers are being created. We at Esri India have taken an initiative of creating India specific content, and a lot of work is being done in this direction, and a team has been put together to make sure that we collect the data which is important for different applications that you all run on your systems. Recently, globally we announced enhancement on OSM layers. We also introduced new content about 2020 land cover and a projection for 2050 land cover. Now this projection is based on what we have seen, what we observe, and it's very useful for us to look at what is likely to go on in 2050 if we take certain actions or if we don't take certain kind of actions. It has layers about biodiversity, it has layers about air quality, it has information about different rivers and forest fires and risks to wildlife. So those kind of data sets have been brought together, and overall this global and local geographical content which we are putting together is going to be very, very useful for a lot of applications that are being created by you all in your organizations. And ArcGIS capabilities are advancing. They are advancing very fast. There are a lot of new innovations happening very, very often these days. Now ArcGIS has a very powerful AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. ArcGIS Pro has a lot of algorithms which are already a part of this system, and these are helping you in creating more applications using AI and machine learning. There are more features for spatial analytics and data science. You can do big data analytics using Pro and the algorithms which are available. BIM integration, you will hear a lot more about Geo Bim and Jack speaks little later. There are apps for field operations, there are a lot of location analytics, real-time visualization capabilities, and a lot of image processing capabilities, satellite image processing, image server for sharing the images across the organization and even outside the organization. So some of these capabilities are positioning ArcGIS as a very unique offering, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a journey on which we are all going together. Now when we talk about all these different advancements, one particular area which I mentioned earlier also, this was about drones. Drones are becoming very, very important. In India also we are using drones for a variety of applications. You would have seen that during the times of COVID, drones were used for different activities. There are drones being used for agriculture survey, there are drones being used for things like highway construction monitoring, monitoring different security arrangements, and these are being used for safety and security of people. Many state governments and many central government organizations are using drones for collecting variety of data. We hear about Swamitva scheme, which is a very, very important scheme for the country to take care of the land title for the villages, and its scheme is being launched countrywide. It will cover almost 6.5 lakh villages, and those surveys are going to happen with drones. So processing drone data becomes a very, very important requirement, and for that we have two offerings. One is drone to map, which has been there for quite some time, which is a desktop system where you can bring the drone data, process it, and create the images and content and share. And the second way, which is more important and I would say gives you the capability of dealing with large amounts of drone data, is called site scan. It's a cloud based offering and it's a very robust offering. It's a complete solution and which starts from planning for a flight. So site scan has apps which help you in planning for the drone's flight, and once you plan the flight, that information gets transferred to the autopilot of the drone, and then drone will fly and capture the information. And then that information which is captured is passed on to the cloud system for processing, storage, management, and analysis of the content which you have captured through drones. And SiteScan has a very easy integration with ArcGIS. So if you are using ArcGIS server or a desktop, you can bring that data straight away into a GIS system and use it, or just keep it stored for a future use. So it's a very flexible, robust system which is providing end-to-end workflow for capturing, processing and managing and utilization of drone imagery. And the best thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's coming here very soon. We are going to have SiteScan hosted on a cloud within India, and you will hear more in the next few weeks. Having it within India will ensure that the data which is captured in India does not go outside. And using this system, you can create variety of powerful products like orthomosaics, digital elevation models, different kind of meshes, thermal orthomosaics, and full motion video analysis, 360-degree panoramas. So it has a lot of capabilities for processing the drone imagery. I think it's a need of the hour right now, because so much utilization of drones is happening in this country, and it's a very timely solution which we are planning to launch very soon in the country. Another important thing which I referred to earlier was industry specific solution and applications. We are doing a lot of work in India. Globally, about 350 such apps have been available for quite some time. But all those apps do not sometimes fit our workflows, because those have been created keeping the whole world in mind, and the way we work in every country is different, and so is it is in India. So we have taken the charter of creating apps through our team in India. These will be pre-configured solutions, and these solutions will address a lot of important needs in different segments. So in the first batch of these apps, we are trying to address 5 areas: local and state government, disaster and emergency management, health and human services, utilities and telecommunications, and homeland security and public safety. So a number of apps are available, and more apps are going to be available, and these will help you in realizing the potential of GIS in a much shorter time. Today, when you set up a geospatial infrastructure, you build your GIS system, you want something to happen quickly. You do not want to wait for a long time. You want to start realizing value from your investment in a shorter period of time, and that's where these solutions and apps are going to help. These have ready-made workflows, they have data models, they will help you build dashboards in a real short time, and they are easy and quick to deploy, and they are fully supported by our team. So ladies and gentlemen, this is going to really make your life simple in terms of consuming technology, consuming GIS, and making use of the infrastructure that you are going to create. I'm very happy to share that this year we are going to be 25 years as a company in India, So Esri India started in 1996, and we are happy to celebrate our 25th anniversary this year. And we are continuing to grow, and our focus on users is growing as we are growing from year to year. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point there are a number of new, I would say revolutionary changes which we have brought about. First and foremost, you would have seen that over the last couple of years, the way we provide you technical support has changed quite a bit. The response time and the quality of support has gone through a major uplift. Now, the most recent change which we have done now is to provide you a mobile app for reaching out to tech support. So, through mobile app, you have multiple advantages. One, you are always online. Secondly, whenever you encounter a problem in the system, you can log a complaint, log a case along with the mobile app, and you can also see the progress of the case through the mobile app because it's always on. You don't have to worry about going and logging in. So it's a major change, and many of you have started using it, and those who are using it are finding this to be really exciting. Other important thing which we had introduced some time back was instructor-led online training facility, which has been of enormous help in this period of pandemic and lockdown when we were not able to provide this training in a classroom. So this is the cloud-based offering which is being used for quite some time. It has many advantages. One, you don't have to be physically present at one place. You can, if there are 10 people, they can be at 10 different places and still receive this training. Secondly, you don't have to worry about very high-end laptops or computers with you because we provide that through our cloud. So you can use any of the laptops you have to access different kind of training, including ArcGIS Pro training through the cloud infrastructure. So this has changed training delivery, and we are able to train many more people every year from our user community. Another important area where we are focusing quite a lot is in terms of capacity building and skill building. So we work with a large number of educational institutes. These are university and degree granting institutes, and we work with about 1,000 of them. They're using our software, and we have put together a dedicated team to support them in updating their curriculum and delivering education to their students in a more advanced manner. We are helping many of these colleges in conducting webinars, conducting hackathons, so that students get engaged and they are able to make use of GIS learning while they are at the campus. Another important thing is that instead of just letting people who are students who are doing postgraduate degree in geoinformatics or civil engineering, it is important that we expose all the students on the campus to geospatial technologies and GIS. And why is that important? It's important because in whichever field they go and work tomorrow, use of geospatial technologies will be required, because there is no segment today where these technologies are not being used. So that's the direction in which we are working, and we would like to collaborate with the education institutes to step this up so that we have more students coming out. There's a shortage of tens of thousands of skilled people in the country with geospatial technologies. Second very important step we took this year was in collaboration with the CSC Academy. They're a part of Ministry of Electronics and IT, and they have this common service centers across the country. So we are closely working with them to provide geospatial literacy to about 10,000 rural women folks. So we want rural women to be exposed to geospatial technology. They are being trained in using GIS on mobile devices for conducting simple activities like a field survey. In rural areas, sometimes data collection is required, and they look for people to do things like agriculture survey, or if there's a construction activity of a highway, then doing a survey for that, or any other kind of data collection. And once trained, these women folks from our villages will be able to do that and also earn some extra money. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also very aggressively working in expanding the GIS community in the country. We always do that, and we are doing it through our initiatives in education segment, collaborating with different government organizations, working with organizations like CSC Academy, and also working with a large number of partners. We have several hundred partners, I think close to 300 partners in the country now, and these partners are helping us spread the use of GIS in different parts, because just Esri India, we on our own probably cannot address all the requirements which are in the country. So this large ecosystem of partners have the capability of reaching different nooks and corners of this country, providing the technology, providing some level of training, and also creating applications, custom applications or implementation of solution templates for the benefit of our users. So that's another important step which has been taken. Users are the most important component of our community, and we try to do as much as possible through webinars and other kind of conferences to share the new things that we are doing and what is and how you can use GIS, how can you make use of new features that we are announcing each year in your area of work. Ladies and gentlemen, if we keep working in this direction, if we keep collaborating, and if we keep looking for new avenues to make use of geospatial technologies, it will be a great step in creating a sustainable future. Thank you.
What a start to the conference, right, Vishal?
Yes.
And I must say, this whole new opening of market with new policies coming in, especially the geospatial data policy and drone policy, I think it's just the beginning of what is going to unleash as a big opportunity for our users. Don't you think so?
Completely agree, Harpreet. And let me tell you, this is a major boon for all of us as the industry participant and the user community. This has been much awaited, and we are all very excited. And thanks to the ministry for coming out with this new geospatial policy in Feb last year. A lot of excitement already I see in the market. And as you rightly mentioned, the drone policy is also on its way. So together, I think this will eventually complete the whole ecosystem. We have a lot of challenges earlier of capturing the data with right technologies, making sure the data is shared, making sure the data is not deduplicated again and again. So that all will be taken care. So right from capture to consume to collate and then going all the way to cloud, I think very amazing.
Yeah, and one more point which comes out is that our users were always very limited because they were not able to do very innovative work around it, right? There was always a restriction of data, and therefore their ability to create new infrastructure of GIS applications. A lot of innovative work was getting restricted. Now that will open up, right?
Definitely that will open up. Innovation will open up. Innovative work will open up. At the same time, you will find a lot of new type of I'll say users will come up. We have the traditional good user, we have data creators, we have data users, but there are a lot of startups community which will come in now, and they will enter into this domain called geospatial.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were shying away all the time because of policy framework or because of large tech available. Today, with the kind of policy availability, and there were kind of small modules available with a tech change as well. You will come to know a lot about our platform in the next 2 days about the PaaS which is coming from OSC, which is especially for the developers. Right. So exciting time, Harpreet. I totally agree with you.
I get even more excited when I hear things like that, right? But I think the next question then comes to is, what are the technology advancements which are coming our way? What are the new vision which we have set, from an R&D standpoint? Where are we going to?
So I will give you 2 clues on that and answer your question with 2 parameters. And number 1 is, why not we hear about technology advancements right from the godfather of GIS?
Oh, that's interesting.
So before people get excited, so let me introduce Jack Dangermond. I mean, he doesn't need any introduction. As I already said, the godfather of GIS. Let's go to him directly and understand where the technology is going. Over to you, Jack.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jack Dangermond, and it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you from around the world to the, 2021 Esri Users Conference. The purpose of this meeting is quite simple. It's to help you in your career, for us to share the technology that we're advancing, but also an opportunity for you to share the work that you're doing and give us feedback. It's about understanding and learning and inspiring each other to take on the great challenges that our world is facing today. This year, in addition to all of the activities that are underway, we're also going to be focusing on creating a more sustainable future for our planet. And part of the vision was inspired by a recent book that I read by Mario Palma, who is one of the founders of INEGI, which is the large statistical and science and mapping organizations in Mexico. He said the following in his book: lack of understanding of our reality is one of the greatest risks our society is facing. And I think all of us in the GIS community, all of us in the world community can understand this. He also later said in his book, our future depends upon creating and applying that understanding. And these were the beacons that started INEGI, but they're also, for me, they speak to me. These words speak to me because they really are a purposeful way of describing our work. Creating and applying understanding. Our world is a complex and highly interdependent ecosystem that's rapidly changing and evolving. The world we live in is actually not well known. It's fragile. It's rich in biodiversity, which is disappearing at an alarming rate. It's also increasingly dominated by human activities. Geologists are beginning to call this the Anthropocene epoch, that epoch where humans absolutely dominate the life and the history, the life, the future of our world. Today, our world is being challenged because us as humans are living recklessly and unsustainably. And this is threatening our future. Human-induced climate changes and overpopulation are resulting in interconnected patterns of change, steep declines in biodiversity, and many other factors. We read about them. Scientists tell us about them almost every day. Clearly, for me, personally, for me, it speaks that we collectively, we as a general human population, but also we as GIS users, are collectively responsible for its future. And it could go many ways. The geographic approach is a way of thinking and problem solving that integrates geographic science and information into how we understand and manage our planet. And Mario Palma would clearly understand that. It's a holistic approach. It brings sciences together. It's integrated. It supports and is enriched by spatial understanding, and it is also collaborative. The idea is supporting multiple objective solution creating, inclusive and multidisciplinary in its nature. And the great hope, the great vision, is that this will impact virtually every sector of our society going forward. This approach integrates and supports powerful methodologies familiar to many of you here in the audience. Geoanalytics, creating insights and understanding. Geovisualization, a language like through maps and visualization for communicating the content of our world and the context of our world. Geodesign, designing sustainable and inclusive futures. Geocollaboration, engaging all the stakeholders, and geoaccounting, being able to account for all the factors. Setting up measures that are not just economic driven, but are driven in a mixed way, balanced way. And this geoscience and understanding can support our future. It can support our planning, our decision making, our engineering, our operations, how we manage our individual organizations, and how we manage the world. These are all critical. And I appreciate the good work that you are already doing. Clearly, GIS enables the geographic approach, the very tools that you use for measuring and visualizing and analyzing and making predictions, doing planning, making decision makings. All that work that you do is a kind of framework and a process for applying geographic knowledge, this integrative knowledge widely. And as I already said, you're already doing this. You are applying the geographic approach and creating so many solutions for a sustainable future. You are protecting biodiversity. You are reducing the use of precious resources. You're optimizing logistics. You are managing sustainable agriculture and forests. Clearly, we need to scale up our collective efforts exponentially. GIS technology can help us. It's not the only thing, but it can help us. And it is advancing rapidly. It's integrating many new innovations, helping us reach this kind of scale. This will be essential. Things like cloud computing, advanced analytics, the integration of imagery and remote sensing, interactive mapping, 3D visualization. Remote sensing is just a piece of it, but it's a major and significant part. Opening up access to this through the multitude of apps. All of this will help us scale up our collective efforts. GIS is also increasingly becoming interconnected, creating what I like to refer to as geospatial infrastructure. We're connecting our systems, and this in turn is helping us collaborate. It's helping us share. It's transforming workflows and decision-making at many scales. Geospatial infrastructure actually is, and I'm seeing this live in different organizations like Louisville, for example, it's actually transforming organizations. It's creating a whole new kind of intelligent infrastructure, not just digital infrastructure, not just water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, or road infrastructure. It's creating a new kind of infrastructure for organizing and making distributed data that we collect available. As a basis for this, it's shared geospatial services organized through portals for discovery and access by apps that now support all types of users. This is an exciting time because this infrastructure, and I'm watching it closely, and so are you, is expanding really quickly. It's supporting not only local applications, shared information and so on, but also global applications with millions of users and tens of millions of shared data sets and services that are being made available in this way. It's making billions of maps every day. And these billions of maps are reaching billions of people. They're changing how they think. It's creating a whole new kind of global information system. You've heard me before talk about a nervous system for our planet. My sense is this infrastructure is creating a nervous system for sustainability. I'd like to talk about some of the details of this nervous system. First, geospatial infrastructure is integrating all kinds of data. It can now integrate all types of tabular data and map data and imagery data. It can integrate real-time data and abstract them into these web maps and layers and scenes that we're finding so dramatically useful, so that apps of many types can use them. Geospatial infrastructure delivers powerful apps, not just for GIS users in desktops and so on, but these apps are going to scale with massive mobile deployments for collecting data and also disseminating data. And also the pervasiveness of web apps is just unbelievable. Literally trillions of maps being looked at around the world. And my big hope is that this will continue to expand as it has in the last couple of years, enveloping and bringing us together as a society. Some more details. This geospatial environment, these geospatial capabilities are becoming embedded in other large IT enterprise systems. Our colleagues in other companies like Microsoft and IBM and Salesforce and Amazon and on, Autodesk, are putting maps and geospatial information into their apps. And that is, in turn, changing how they do engineering and CRM. And well, you can just look at it. It's really integrating geospatial thinking and geographic thinking into the apps that non-GIS professionals use across the organizations. And complementing this is the enrichment that's happening as a result of advanced GIS analytics. This is allowing us to see new things, create new insights with predictive modeling or the ability to analyze spatial temporal information together, the ingestion of real-time information, and the simple tools to be able to interactively do visual spatial analytics. These are powerful. And then enriching it further is Geo AI, machine learning, and so on. And the ability now to store imagery in the cloud and perform advanced raster analytics. And finally, big data, the ability to integrate and pull on and create understanding from these massive data sets. I want to talk about a couple of these. Big data integration is going to open our eyes. It's going to let us see new things, relationships we never understood before. The ability to access these massive data collections from transactional systems and imagery and link them to the very same tools that you are using will create new forms of understanding. Imagery and remote sensing is one category of that big data, all the way from simple image-based maps for thematic underlays to oriented imagery, integration of motion imagery, dynamic image processing, point cloud visualization, and as I mentioned before, Geo AI and machine learning, which is allowing us to pull off the image feature information that enriches our GIS. All of this imagery data is increasingly being used in raster analytics and modeling. And increasingly that's being put into the cloud. We'll talk more about that together. Bringing all of these sources of data together and being able to integrate into your work these timely information sets. Many of you are implementing this concept of geospatial hubs and engaging with other communities. This trend and the technology associated with it first started with engaging citizens and cities. It's all about organizing initiatives and then organizing the teams and organizing their activities. But this is now, especially in the last year, expanded to organizing professional relationships between users of different types. This technology and the organizational strength of the people behind it is fostering many new types of geo-collaboration. And I love that concept because it's essential to make the concepts of geospatial infrastructure work. I'll summarize what I've been talking about. Our world is being challenged on many fronts, and we will increasingly need to be responsible for its future. Part of this presentation is about getting us even conscious about it among ourselves. The geographic approach and geospatial infrastructure, this rapidly expanding new pattern, is going to provide us with the science and also the practical means, the essential means to be able to make this work. But they're not going to be enough. You and your work are going to be essential. Providing leadership in your own organization. Carrying out problem solving, the kind of things you already do. But thinking larger, thinking holistically. My place in my organization, my organization's place in the world. Promoting our best tools and methods and thinking, being able to communicate clearly and effectively, and most of all, collaborating with other kinds of organizations, exchanging ideas, which I really wish we could be doing here together physically. This informal communication is so very important. Also, for me personally, I feel like I'm all in. I'm going all in. And I really want to encourage you to go all in. Act with urgency. These are the times where we really have to get it together and move at many different scales. I'd next like to move on in my presentation to talk about our work, the work that we do to support your work, and that's exactly how we see it. ArcGIS is our essential technology that we continue to evolve, and I'll go deep into what we're doing and have been doing in the last year in that environment. The vision of ArcGIS is to create a complete, comprehensive geospatial platform that supports multiple communities. The GIS community, of course, but also the mapping and location analytics communities, and also support Geo-Enable systems, which are specialized technologies for specialized workflows. We do this in an open and developer-friendly environment with SaaS and software, and most recently, platform as a service. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. ArcGIS supports 3 fundamental types of systems, but they're all integrated into one technology. Systems of record for transactional data management, systems of analytics for creating insights into how geography is interconnected and works, systems of engagement through apps and maps that connect populations to the organization's work, communicate, and so on. ArcGIS is an integrated system. It brings many components together and works actually and has been engineered to work as a single system, supporting many kinds of applications and people. It, as a technology, is what is enabling and fueling this geospatial infrastructure pattern. ArcGIS users are increasingly leveraging the cloud. They're extending their system and strengthening their capabilities by deploying in clouds, like the Arcgis Enterprise, but also leveraging SaaS resources from the cloud, like content or analytics in the cloud, or I'll be talking about a number of these things in a few minutes. Our pattern here is ArcGIS Online. The ArcGIS platform is open and it's interoperable. We support and leverage multiple initiatives to make this happen, supporting, of course, all the good work done by the standards organizations, OGC and others. We also have architected the system to be an open architecture with open APIs and open data so that it can help our users integrate their systems into a broader frame of other IT systems. We have been working during the last year on enhancing capabilities. They're advancing. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be sharing a bit about each of these different activities that we're working on. Let me go on to desktop mapping and cartography. Here, we've been making improved tools and improvements to our tools to support advanced workflows in the desktop environment of ArcGIS Pro. We've added new things. We've certainly achieved parity with the ArcMap technology of the previous era, but also we have advanced new things, introduced new kinds of cartographic tools for advancing cartographic science. In the field of interactive web mapping, we have also made a lot of new improvements. The first word that I chose here is fast, because the performance of being able to do interactive mapping has, again, dramatically increased. And that's enabled things like data-driven exploration of maps. Look at the upper left. See, I'm moving back and forth this little chart, and we're seeing all of the counties in the United States visualized dynamically as we explore the information. That's a new pattern for maps. It's the idea that mapping is an interactive environment. Some of the improvements are that we introduced a new map viewer for both ArcGIS Online and the Enterprise technology. And you can look through the list, you can find your favorite things. Mine happens to be sketching, the ability to sketch on top of a web map and then share it with my colleagues. Instant apps are a brand new thing that were introduced this year. They allow us to quickly transform any web map, 2D or 3D map, into an app. And we support about a dozen of these apps. You can just take your map, associate it with this app, and boom, you've got an app to go. And there's many more coming. For some of you, you'll remember the word configurable apps. This is kind of the next gigantic step forward of configurable apps. You can build these independently, but you can also create them right inside of the map viewer. For many of you, dashboards are almost an essential element now. I see them in almost every agency that I go to because they provide dynamic, real-time visualization about any subject. Well, for every subject, dashboards have meaning and have been embraced by our users to be able to provide at-a-glance information. We continue working, and what's coming is a new table visualization and the ability to have dashboards natively implemented on your mobile device. That means that people can look at their little favorite dashboards anywhere, anytime, and on any device. Story maps are, again, one of these enormously popular applications. They're opening up geographic storytelling for all of us. Everybody has a story, and they're telling it like crazy with story maps. Millions of these have been published, thousands of new ones introduced every day. My good friend Jim Fallows calls this geojournalism, the ability to author a story and make it available dramatically, dynamically, digitally, covering a lot of populations. The innovations here have been better, simple drawing tools and the ability to collect multiple story maps together into collections, so I can publish like a story book for a particular community. These are getting easier, and the story map role last year opened up story map telling in a very affordable way to entire enterprises, and we're going to continue on that journey of making this more available and easier to use by everyone. Embedded mapping is an idea that I talked about earlier, the idea of embedding our mapping and our tools inside of other organizations' apps. And this is about embedding ArcMaps into other products, like all the Microsoft 365 products or the Autodesk tools for engineers, or into the Adobe products, or into Salesforce and Amazon and SAS and IBM and others. My sense is that this is going to be continuing to expand your reach, the reach of GIS, bringing easy map making inside of other technologies. Well, I think that has the potential of really making transformational impacts. Our work in interactive visual analytics is largely organized in a product we call Arcgis Insights. And this is a very easy to learn tool that works in both web and desktop environments. It allows people to access lots of different data around their organization and engineer access, and then explore the data visually, spatially, and then do analytics and interactive reporting on that data set. Very popular set of tools that are rapidly expanding. Speaking about spatial analytics, for many of you, it's the heart and soul of what you do. It's all about solving problems and advancing science in multiple ways. This year, we've introduced 90 new tools and algorithms. They're shown partly in this visual display. New tools for AI and machine learning and big data analytics, scripting, data engineering, and so on. I'm particularly fond of the AI and machine learning and deep learning activities that are going on. At Esri, we're beginning to call this GeoAI. And we have very consciously engineered these capabilities directly inside of all of the different parts of the system, into Pro, into Enterprise, into Online, so you can accomplish multiple things within the technologies that you know and work with every day. But we've also integrated this platform technology with open science ecosystem of dozens of other technologies that are also traveling along in the world of GeoAI. These tools are being used rapidly by our users to automate what they're doing and also just approach their problem solving smarter. Look at the examples in the upper right. I'll just call out one because I love it, which is the ability to do feature extraction off of imagery, creating actual feature layers and change layers automatically. Now, imagery and remote sensing, as I mentioned earlier, is becoming very important in the GIS community. And we have implemented a complete library of technology, in fact, a complete system, an integrated system for doing these four major activities: the management of imagery and its dissemination, the ability to make maps automatically, the ability to visualize and explore information, and also the ability to do analytics. And these little blue lists are just a few of the hundreds of capabilities that actually exist for doing it, but that's some of the work that we've done in the last year. Of this list, my favorite is the idea that we can actually load our imagery up into ArcGIS Online now and host it in a SaaS environment. Now, I'd like to talk about this in a little more detail. Image hosting and analysis in the cloud. This means as an extension to ArcGIS Online, I can actually upload my own imagery into ArcGIS Online. I can do raster analytics in ArcGIS Online or image processing in ArcGIS Online. And I can serve it out as image services, visualization services, integratable directly into the other work that I'm doing. Drone mapping is another dimension of what we are doing with imagery. We support two fundamental technologies, site scan, which is cloud processing, and drone to map, which is desktop technology for planning and managing and collecting imagery and then processing it. This is what we are beginning to call reality capture. It is a mission that results in things like point clouds or DSMs or multispectral thermal emissions, lots of data sets that are directly usable by our users. For some users, they wish to do this at scale. So we introduced late last year a new technology called Shure for ArcGIS. This is about reality capture in an automated, like a factory, the capturing of this data, the processing of this data, and the ability to create 3D data products and maps. This is very, very attractive to large mapping agencies or to aerial survey companies who wish to automate and transform how they do digital photogrammetry. I'd like to show you how this works. You can see the textured meshes on the right in the city of Boston. It can now be integrated and enrich 3D systems of record, like the 3D buildings that's shown on the left. Many of you have these 3D systems of record that you're updating feature by feature. But by being able to integrate the two together, I can create really a marvelous 3D visualization experience. This is an example in Frankfurt, Germany, where an aerial photography mission was processed simply in a few hours to create this beautiful pictorial description of the city. And I can interact with this, of course. It's a beautiful visualization. But what you don't know is behind those, let's call them 3D pictures, are the actual 3D features. So I can interact with the features. I can color them. I can color the mesh. Like in this case with zoning. Well, the little video here speaks for itself. You get the idea. I see a new generation of 3D GIS as a result of these meshes being captured and being able to be integrated into our 3D systems. Our work in 3D visualization and analysis is fundamentally advancing GIS. It's not just about meshes, but also we've been working on the integration of game engine technologies to support immersive experiences. We continue working on tools for doing 3D web editing, both of meshes, but also of individual features. We've done extensive work in the integration of BIM models. And we're also working actively on the ability to integrate these 3D BIM models right into our feature databases as a long transaction, and lots of other things, like being able to interactively do view sheds or cross sections or elevation profiles of various types. I'd like to share with you particularly the next chapter in our GIS and BIM integration. We're doing this closely with Autodesk Corporation, linking our systems with their systems and workflows. Now, Arcgis Geo Bim, a new product which will come out in the fall, is able to dynamically link Arcgis features to documents within the Autodesk Construction Cloud and BIM 360 environment. That means I can point at a feature in a 2D or 3D scene and automatically bring up next to it, dynamically bring up the document. We have engineered this in such a way that this dynamic relationship can be the platform for creating a whole new class of apps. This will enable new kinds of collaboration, bringing the engineering and construction community closer with the GIS community and vice versa. Our 3D capabilities in ArcGIS are integrated across the entire ArcGIS system, and they enrich all types of experiences in the desktop, in the mobile environment, and also on the web. These experiences are part of a larger system, a complete 3D GIS system of record, a kind of living digital twin. Another dimension of our work is integrating real-time visualization and analytics into a GIS. This is about integrating sensors, the IoT, directly into the GIS, and we have two solutions to do that. The one is the Geo Event Server, which is an extension to the actual Enterprise software. The other one is a new capability called Velocity, which allows these kinds of functions to occur inside of the Arcgis online cloud. This is all about ingesting dynamic applications of all types. For many of you, data management and editing is the center focus of your work. And here, our activities include continuing our support for all the leading data management technologies in the cloud and on premises, but also reaching forward into the future. We're integrating Arcgis with these cloud data warehouses to enrich and do big data kinds of operations. We're continuing our support to advance industry data models, services-based models like parcels and utility networks and so on. And we've also made improvements in the geodatabase in performance and a variety of other things. Finally, we continue to work on improving our editing tools, new QA/QC tools, new integration of 3D features and meshes that I talked about earlier. And moreover, just this steady march of improving performance and scalability and usability all around. In the field, Arcgis supports a series of field apps for both operations and data collection. The biggest innovation that we introduced last year was the Arcgis Field Maps app. This actually brought together many individual apps' capabilities for collecting data, updating data in the field, tracking where you are, and being able to access services-based visualization tools. It also introduced the ability to do markups on top of maps and share them. Arcgis supports a series of specialized data collection tools like Survey 123 and Quick Data Capture. And also, it locationally enables other aspects of field work like with Tracker and Navigator and Workforce. All of these come together around the system to be able to provide operational awareness for people in the office who are tracking their people in the field. App builders are making it easy for our users to build their own apps. This is an environment where there's no code or low code app development. You simply take widgets and build web apps with the web app builder, which has resulted in millions of apps being built, and also the experience builder, which is the next generation of the web app builder, which is more optimized for mobile environments and also has better mapping. For those users who wish to build native mobile apps, we also have a technology known as the App Studio that allows you to build fantastic iOS or Android or Windows environments. And all of these app builders are available to all of our users. The result has been kind of an explosion of custom apps all over the world. Arcgis supports strong developer capabilities. These are APIs and SDKs for automating and extending ArcGIS on one hand, but also creating whole new apps. Things like the Python API are useful for being able to build scripts and notebooks for automating work. Tools like the Pro add-ins with the Pro SDK and Enterprise SDK allows us to extend basically functionality. In the area of creating apps, our runtime SDKs allow users to create device-specific apps, or perhaps our most popular API is the JavaScript API. And this has resulted in millions of web apps. Earlier this year, we introduced a new library of tools, open source APIs like OpenLayers, Leaflet, and more. I'd like to take just a moment about the JavaScript Mapping API, which is really continuing to advance at a very fast rate. Faster performance, data-driven visualization, new tools and widgets and workflows, more 3D capabilities, and especially client-side analytics that you saw in a few examples I shared a few moments ago. Arcgis Platform is a brand new technology we released earlier this year. This is about developer-focused mapping and location services, and it's delivered as PaaS. It's delivered in a consumption-based business model, which supports non-GIS developers and also the embedding of location services capabilities from the cloud into enterprise systems. I'd like to now shift gears for a moment and talk about the fundamental Arcgis products. These are the vessels within which all this capability gets realized. As most of you know, Arcgis is an integrated series of components, servers, desktops, apps, solutions, and so on. And I'm going to go through them systematically Let's start with ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Pro is all about advanced mapping, visualization, editing, and analytics. And we've again introduced a whole new series of capabilities. But we also listened to your requests and feedback from last year, which said, focus on performance, focus on quality, focus on usability. And we did that, but we also continued our march to add new capabilities, things like floor awareness or big data collections. ArcGIS Pro has many extensions. These extensions extend the fundamental capability with rich analytics and tools for data management and tools for production, mapping, and charting. The second big technology of the family is the Arcgis Enterprise. And this is about GIS infrastructure for your organization. It's all the tools for data management and mapping and analytics and collaboration of multiple types. This enterprise technology runs in public and private clouds, of course, and also for on-prem deployments. Lots of new things actually occurred here in the last year, some dramatically large advances, but I'll just hit on a couple. You've been asking for better distributed collaboration, like two-way synchronizations between different systems, updating a map in one system and having it send a little updatogram over to another one and automatically update, and many others. What's coming next is our support for enterprise in the cloud, and also the integration of our technology to these big data warehouses that I mentioned earlier in my talk. But I'd like to focus especially on a huge advancement which happened with this latest release, which is Kubernetes support. ArcGIS on Kubernetes is the implementation of ArcGIS in a cloud-native architecture. And for some of you, you'll be enormously interested in this when I tell you about it. Others will continue using Linux or Windows for the implementation. But cloud-native architecture means that we take a piece of software like Enterprise and we divide it up into a series of microservices. These are the little things that the software does. And you can deploy these on different computers within the overall cloud environment. This means I can really scale out the technology to deal with very large number of users or very high amounts of computation. This is not for everyone, but it is for organizations who are using Kubernetes and want to take advantage of this scalability. It's supported on AWS and on Azure, and also for users that use the IBM Red Hat OpenShift environment. The third capability or part of the ArcGIS system is the ArcGIS Online environment. And this is a massive global system for mapping and analytics, all in a SaaS environment. There are actually over 10 million users now that subscribe to this, and they're making millions and millions of data sets available for use by others. Trillions of maps actually get made out of this environment. And we're continuing to work hard on many fronts. I've already covered a lot of the new and improved capabilities in this system, like the new map viewer and charting and a bunch of others. The ArcGIS Online environment has a number of extensions. One of my favorites I've already talked about is Arcgis Hub. This is about supporting engagements with other citizens or with other organizations. Organization collaboration is supported with these tools. And I'll just underline this point that it's about organizing things. It's about organizing initiatives in an organization for collaboration or whatever. It's about organizing people, and it's also about organizing activities. ArcGIS solutions are a different kind of product. They lay on top of the other products. They're industry-specific maps and apps that are pre-configured. You simply download them and implement them into your systems, and you're ready to go for a whole new series of applications. They're extensive. They're transforming local governments quickly. We used this kind of pattern for the COVID response, where people were setting up dashboards very quickly. But in emergency response and utilities and so on, they're very easy now to deploy, and they're also completely supported just like our other software products. And the best part for many of you will be that they are free. They're freely disseminated, and they're helping organizations really realize huge value right away. Next, I'd like to take a few minutes and describe Esri's Geo-Enable systems. These are about supporting with individual products focused workflows for indoors, for urban planning, for landscape planning, for business analysis, and most recently, emergency management and response. I'll start with indoors. This is a GIS for space and building management. It visualizes and analyzes all aspects of a building. It includes tools for being able to do data management about a building, and then organize and manage spaces, operations, and it even includes a series of apps for navigating inside of a building with indoor positioning technology. This is changing the way people see buildings. They're able to manage it more efficiently and more effectively. Arcgis Urban is a 3D scenario planning system for both cities and regions. It's about geodesign in cities where you bring the data together, you do analytics like suitability analysis, and then interactively do scenario planning and quickly evaluate these alternative scenarios. This is exactly intuitively what you would imagine a city planner should do. Quickly, interactively, and with stakeholder engagement, evaluate technically different alternatives to create a better future. We've been doing lots of new enhancements here. You can glance through this list. My favorite one is to be able to sketch buildings easily into the environment of urban so that I can quickly evaluate them. Similar to urban, the Arcgis Geoplanner is about geodesign for landscapes, and it follows a very similar pattern. You bring the data together, you do scenario planning, visualize and analyze the impacts of different landscape plans. Here I'm talking about like designing green infrastructure or being able to achieve the great goals of 30 by 30, saving 30% of the open space by year 2030. Arcgis Business Analyst is location-based market analysis and analytics. It comes with a huge library of geographic information and then has many tools for doing things like site suitability analysis, being able to do market research and infographics about geography. It's a huge benefit for businesses like Starbucks and Nike and Walgreens and hundreds of others like it. But it's also increasingly being used by government to be able to do economic evaluation and attract businesses to a community. Arcgis Mission is a command and control system for tactical operations. What that means is like a fire or a search and rescue effort or a disaster response. It likewise brings the data together in a server environment and allows users to plan and execute and then see firsthand situation awareness of what's going on in the field. It consists of a series of applications both for managers of an operation, but also the first responders out in the field who are messaging back with peer-to-peer communication among themselves and with the headquarters office. Very fun technology. Well, some of you are asking what's next for Esri technology. As some of you know, we have several thousand people in our R&D and development activities, and they are all very active in these sorts of topics. And they're so anxious not only to support you and please you, but also to hear your feedback about how we're doing in these areas. It helps them a lot, so please speak out and get engaged with them. We continue our incremental releases. This year, we're naming them the Arcgis 2021 release with a series of dot releases for Pro and Enterprise, and we'll follow that nomenclature going into the future. We're definitely continuously improving our SaaS offerings and actually improving quality and performance in addition to these basic fundamental research efforts. I'd like to close with a couple of comments about the fact that we do more than software. We're all about helping you and develop your own skills, and we do that in a variety of ways. Of course, in real time, providing technical support with hundreds of people around the world that answer your questions and help you do your work better. But also through a large library of books, which we call the ESRI Press, with over 150 publications and more coming, with podcasts, with Esri Press, with young professional networks, with well, a variety of resources. I'll just call your attention to the GIS Day coming up in November. It's an opportunity for all of you to participate in sharing your work. We also work on a progressive learning program. This is about building comprehensive skills for you. And we have hundreds of free courses that are available, large MOOCs, a new generation of learning methods called Learn ArcGIS. These are largely free, but we also have structured classes for web instruction, instructor-led courses, and an entire learning plan that I know thousands of you have registered into and stay current with our tools. Esri is all about serving you, and I say that very sincerely. We're advancing GIS and also the science that underpins GIS. We're very committed to strong engineering tools and embrace closely the whole science focus of our engineering efforts. We have an amazing team in this regard. Esri, I'd like to report back to you, is strong and healthy, and it continues to grow. One of our big missions is about promoting geography, if you haven't figured it out, geographic thinking, the geographic approach, and doing so at a global scale. And we like to do this collaboratively with you because I know it supports your work and it also supports the greater mission of creating a more sustainable world. Esri includes a small team of people who help respond to disasters. This means supporting our users in times of need. And we did a lot of this, of course, in COVID, but in hurricanes and fires, we collaborate with a number of other organizations, including our business partners and volunteer groups like GIS Core and Map Action, to bring resources together effectively to respond to efforts that are affecting our planet. We're also very interested in building the next generation of people, not only GIS professionals, through our programs with higher education, supporting almost 11,000 colleges and universities around the world. We also are looking even further out, building a geographically literate next generation of children. Over 350,000 children have been exposed, played with our tools through ArcGIS Online all around the world. We're partnered closely with the National Geographic Society in carrying this out, helping students everywhere acquire geospatial literacy and develop these kinds of skills that you as a community possess. I invite all of you to become a geo mentor, adopt a teacher, adopt a school, get involved in this. It's very rich and very rewarding, I promise you. I'd like to close with a couple of final comments. I've shared my sense that our world is a single changing ecosystem. It's increasingly threatened by us, our human activities. We are clearly living beyond our means. To create a more sustainable world, we're going to have to take responsibility for its future, applying our best science, our best technology, and our best creativity. Your work is already demonstrating the power of what GIS and the geographic approach have to offer. You are creating integrated systems that work and support sustainable human activities everywhere around the globe. These are tremendous footprints, actually. Geospatial infrastructure is making our GIS more accessible and scalable. My big vision is that this will expand to reach every organization on the planet, becoming involved, creating a global information system for sustainability, a kind of nervous system for our planet. However, this sustainability challenge requires far more than technology. GIS professionals, and here I'd like to speak personally with you, are going to be essential. You need to provide the leadership, working together, doing all the necessary work, like chopping wood and hauling water. You know what I'm talking about. To apply this geographic approach at scale, this is what will be needed. Integrating geographic science and holistic thinking into virtually everything that humans do going forward, creating a sustainable future. Last night, I wrote a few personal messages just for you. First, you're working in the coolest profession, and history will record how very meaningful your work is and has been to changing sustainability on the planet. And I know what you do, I know it's important, and I also see firsthand the power of this work. It's taking everything and put it in context, visioning, seeing the future. I also want to say that I want to encourage you to share your work. I mean, it's very powerful when you do that. Other people learn from you. And this is the only way we're going to get to scale, actually. Share and communicate your work successfully to others, not only within our profession, but also beyond. People are interested. They trust you. They want to collaborate with you. And I'd also say, just personally, build strong professional collaborations. I'm sorry that we're not all together at this conference, because that's the place where we often find a new friend, where we begin this sharing and support network. And I want you, above all, to remember that your work does matter enormously. Also, just a few practical things. Build great maps, maps that tell stories, tell the important stories, because they open the eyes for others to really understand how just very important your work is. So finally, move rapidly. I mean, I love this field. I know you do as well. Move rapidly and urgently, because our world really needs it, because we need to create sustainable solutions, because time is running short. It's late in the day, but it's not dark yet. Okay, so I want to encourage all of you to own this and go with it. Thank you very much.
What a session. What a session, right? I mean, it's always very inspiring to listen to Jack. What do you say, Vishal? I definitely see so much of stuff which our users will be able to leverage in India in so many ways. What are your key takeaways?
Yeah, I must say it's always inspiring, as you rightly said. I've been hearing Jack from ages now. It's always new. First of all, the tech component which comes out of his, in talks. And second, the energy level. It's so contagious that I also feel like jumping with what all Jack has announced. But Harpreet, as you asked about the takeaways, I will quickly summarize the 3 takeaways for me, and I'm sure it will be for our users also. Drone processing with side scan. Geo Bim, you hear him talking, and it is actually all about AAC market and getting the geospatial part into our AAC segments. And third, a very important concept of digital twin, which is a great initiative for our smart city customers.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure they will benefit a lot. Absolutely. So that's our first takeaway, Harpreet, on the new tech. Second, if you heard carefully, he talked a lot about the imaging capabilities. And let me tell you, the way we are improving on imaging day by day, it's all there now. The tech of ArcGIS Pro, we're talking about side scan for drone, and image analyst, and anyways, the GIS component. So ultimately, it's completing the whole ecosystem of what we keep on saying, you capture and you forget it to the cloud. So everything is happening in a same ecosystem called ArcGIS system. And third, he talked majorly about geospatial infrastructure. So all this new tech, this imaging capabilities is eventually culminating into a whole notion of geospatial infrastructure, which is basically an umbrella for all these technologies, and which deliver the user community on a service-oriented architecture in terms of data or application. I'm very excited about it.
Absolutely. I am getting goosebumps seeing all these technologies coming in.
Yes.
I'm sure our users are also enjoying their, sitting at their home or in their offices, listening to this inspiring talks which we have had. I hate to do this, but we must take a small break. Yeah.
Get your water bottles, get your coffee, because
Yeah.
you will not get this time again.
Right. Don't forget that we have an absolutely equally inspiring sessions lined up post our break. So,
Yes.
so quickly go and let's come back exactly in 10 minutes. Yeah. See you after the break.
See you guys.